Hello, let us discuss discipline and corporal punishment today. I'm going to give my opinion on this matter. You will also have your chance to give your opinion. What is discipline? When we talk of discipline in the context of education, we mean guiding of learners towards doing the right thing. And by the right thing, we mean that which is acceptable socially, institutionally, and generally within the environment of the learner. We can also define discipline as the effort we engage towards making a learner the best that he or she can be. It is also the preparation of a learner towards becoming useful to himself or herself and to the society. And finally, I can define discipline as the act of replacing uselessness, inability, and ignorance of a learner with the usefulness, ability, and knowledge. That is how I define discipline. If you look at all these attempts to define discipline, they all point at one thing. In every attempt to define discipline, there is always the element of trying to make better the learner, trying to make better the learner. Now, who is the source of discipline? Where does discipline come from? Most often, we make the mistake of thinking that discipline can only be given by the teacher or the parent, but it is wider than that. According to me, I have four sources of discipline for or to our learners, and these are the school, of course, where we find teachers and other staff that may not be teachers, but they take part in giving discipline to the learners. We have home as another source of discipline, and this is what comprises the siblings to the learner, the parents, and the neighbors to that learner. Community is another source of discipline, and by community we mean the several families, the several homes from a particular region. And we also have country, the country as a legal leadership of all the communities within a particular region that is described as a country. As a country, discipline can also be given to the learners. So you see, what it means here is that the source of discipline is all of us from the various perspectives, from the perspective of school, home, community, country. Ask yourself, from which perspective, from which perspective are you giving your discipline to the learners? Let us briefly look at the history of discipline. And this involves the whole world, but particularly I'll be focusing on Africa because this is where there has been notable changes in the way discipline is given. Initially, we had discipline being communal. There is a time a learner, a child, was the property of the community. That whenever there was need for discipline, the whole community could combine effort and be able to discipline a child or a learner for that matter. Particularly in Kenya, there is a time learners understood that any parent, any grown up can discipline you anywhere. whether within the school compound or outside the school compound. That was then. A lot has changed, and we are going to see how as we go by. After, at a later time, the communal way of disciplining changed to the colonial system of discipline, where it was the command and control system. And this mostly affected countries in Africa that got colonialized or colonized, and it therefore became something that communities imitated, something that institutions imitated, and it became the norm in the area of discipline. So it changed from communal to colonial. And you will find that it is within this colonial system of discipline that we started witnessing destructive corporal punishment. We are going to look at that later, but take note that the colonial system of discipline was the genesis of the mostly condemned corporal punishment. And finally, from that colonial system of discipline, we had the child rights system of discipline, which is in effect up to date. And it is a new one. It is actually something countries are trying to adopt, which means that it is not yet fully in effect all over the world. But mostly, that is what uh, most countries want to implement. So you can see that education, the discipline issue on education has been changing from communal to colonial to child rights system of discipline. Now, at that point, I think it is good that we look at corporal punishment in details so that we get to understand what it means. When we talk of corporal punishment, we mean the use of physical force to inflict pain or to cause pain in a learner. When you use physical force to cause pain to a learner, that is what we call corporal punishment. It includes caning, slapping, pinching, pushing, kicking, and even kneeling for a long time. Those are just examples. You can add more to the list. And you can see from those examples that it is actually to do with anything that involves touching the learner in a manner that will make the learner complain that he or she has been injured in any way. Now, can we look at corporal punishment, how it is happening all over the world? This is very interesting. This is the part that is very interesting because the way we think about corporal punishment, especially those of us who are in Africa, we tend to think that this is a bad thing, especially because of the description. That name, that title, corporal punishment, makes it sound very negative, and it makes it sound like it is something illegal that is only practiced in Africa. But no, that is not the truth. Listen to this, that in countries like in America, and specifically I mean 17 states in America, in Tanzania, in Nigeria, in Afghanistan, in Botswana, in Malaysia, in Singapore, and in the Middle East, corporal punishment is legal. It is allowed both in school and at home. Take note of that, that in those countries I have mentioned, corporal punishment is allowed. It is legal in schools and at home. And the following countries also have corporal punishment allowed, but at home only. These are United Kingdom, Australia, and Canada. In those countries, corporal punishment is also allowed, but only at home. Now, what can we say about the level of discipline of learners in these countries or in those countries where corporal punishment is legalized? The level of discipline of learners in those countries where discipline is legalized or allowed. I have picked one, and that is Singapore. Singapore is known for its high level of development. Singapore is known for its best education standards. And above all, Singapore is known for the highest discipline of learners in their schools in the world. And remember, Singapore, we have mentioned it as one of those countries where corporal punishment is allowed both at home and at school. So it is a case study that needs to be looked at properly so that countries can borrow from it, how it is working. Given the way it has been demonized, it is looked at negatively, but it is working in Singapore and in a very positive way. So, what is this Singapore is doing that is making it so productive? We are told from the research I did, it is that in Singapore, it combines the cane, the corporal punishment, with a very strong cultural and social structure that emphasizes respect for authority. In Singapore, authority is respected. And that means that if a good person, a good leader is in power, then it means so much development can be realized. No wonder the high development level of that country called Singapore. Now, let us say something about the experience of teachers in countries with banned corporal punishment, countries where corporal punishment is banned. How are teachers surviving there? What is their experience? We look at it in two ways: the negative effects of on the teachers is that teachers in these countries are incapacitated due to lack of alternative punishment options. A country, for example, like Kenya, a legislation was just made and the teachers were told stop corporal punishment. This was done without providing an alternative form of punishment. Teachers were not trained on what to do to replace the corporal punishment that they were used to. So, because of that, teachers feel incapacitated. The level of burnout is also too high in countries where corporal punishment has been banned because there is a high level of stress which is causing the burnout to teachers. There is also excess workload. Remember, the corporal punishment has been banned, but at the same time, the teachers are supposed to ensure discipline amongst the learners. That means that the teachers must spend a lot of time, they have to invest a lot of their time in the alternative, the undefined, actually, the undefined alternative forms of discipline. That gives teachers a lot of work. Then there is the safety concern that most teachers feel working under threat in harsh environments, especially where students get unruly and they cannot be contained through corporal punishment. So teachers have raised concerns on their safety. However, there is a positive effect that has come up also from such the countries where this has been banned, where the corporal punishment has been banned. Teachers have shown high skilled classroom management uh, adjustments. They have adjusted accordingly. So the way teachers manage their classrooms is more skilled than previously because it is more engaging now. It is no longer very authoritative using fear to make the students organized and so on. They have become more skilled in classroom management. And teachers have also been reported to now start engaging in what we call restorative justice. This is something to do with reconciliation, that when there is a problem, a learner has been involved in some wrongdoing, instead of inflicting pain on the learner, teachers resort to reconciliation, talking about the matter, getting a solution, and justice is restored. Now, from all this that is happening on discipline, it is good that teachers take note of these warnings. That warning number one, teachers should know that there is no such thing as small corporal punishment. You cannot say that, oh, you see, I just pinched a little and it was not harmful. It is not allowed. You cannot argue in a court of law that what you did was just some small pain, inflicting of some small pain. So you are advised to completely avoid corporal punishment. That is warning number one. Warning number two, beware of the camera. We are in the digital era. Cameras are everywhere. You might think you are offering or giving the corporal punishment away from the public eye, only to discover that you are trending. It is viral. And you know, when that happens, you are subjected to two options. Option number one is home, sacked. Your job has been terminated, you go home. Option number two is jailed and sentenced. Don't wish that on yourself. So avoid corporal punishment completely. Then another warning is if you know yourself as a teacher, you know how tempted you can get to punish corporally. Avoid situations that will tempt you to give corporal punishment. And the last warning is you need to transition to the alternative forms of punishment. Don't keep complaining that, oh, we have been deprived of ability to punish these students so that we discipline them properly. Get out of that. It is done. It has been legislated. It is illegal. The best you can do is to transition. Just move out of that mentality and transition to the alternative forms of discipline, which include withdrawing privileges from indisciplined learners, involve parents when their children are involved in indiscipline, and such like, provided they do not inflict any pain on the learners. Now, to the parents who do not understand think that the withdrawal of corporal punishment is a plus to them. No, no. Actually, what has been done is that the discipline has now been thrown. The responsibility to discipline the learners has been given to the parents. And this is what the parents should know. I have 4 truths, bitter truths to tell the parents. Truth number 1: discipline of your learner starts and ends at home. It starts and ends at home. Your child is your responsibility in terms of discipline. Truth number 2: school is no longer a disciplining center. School is now purely an academic zone. Truth number 3: you can now be seen through your child. Teachers see the parents of their learners through the learners. How your child behaves, the conduct of your child, what your child says, and so on, helps the teachers to know the kind of parent the learner has. So, who are you as a parent? What do teachers see through your child? If your child is indisciplined, it means you are the one indisciplined also, because we expect that the learners copy or imitate from their parents. So if they are indisciplined, then we assume that you parents are also indisciplined. And lastly, bitter truth for parents is that the children rights discipline model is very slow and very expensive. Very slow and very expensive. So always dedicate time. When you are called to school, make sure you leave everything you are doing, go to school. Spend the whole day there, the several hours there, so that a solution can be obtained for your indisciplined child. So know that it is a model of discipline in place, but it takes a lot of your time. It actually also takes a lot of teachers' time and even the learners' time. And it is very expensive, especially in cases where your learner or your child, as a parent, your child is in a boarding school far from home. So can you make sure that you are aware of this and always be ready for anything? Lastly, what do we conclude? Let us conclude this way, that all of us, parents, learners, teachers, the community, the country, must adjust to the new reality concerning discipline. Let us join efforts, let us adjust to the realities on the ground, and above all, let us comply with the law of our respective countries. The law of your country is supreme. Make sure you obey it. Otherwise, I wish you well. I hope to see you here in my following video, which will be also very interesting. It will actually be about academics and the many wrongs that we believe in. We are going to work on how to get rid of those kind of wrong beliefs from our minds. Otherwise, have the best of your time. Thank you.